Well, my name's Junior, I'm 26, and I'm from Southwest London. Well, I was first diagnosed with sickle cell at 2 years old. Growing up with sickle cell was very hard. It was a case of you're still a child in a way, like going to primary school, and you want to do everything what everyone else does, like go out and play football and, you know, stay out late with your friends and stuff, but you know that you can't because your mother's worried or your dad's worried, and the cold affects the body. So sometimes, like swimming, I wasn't able to do. So it can affect you socially when you want to do social things, and it can also affect you physically because of the pain. And knowing that you have to take painkillers and like folic acid, penicillin, to help you prevent crisis and infections. So it affects you in many different ways, and your life is not controlled by it, but it's always affected by it. Well, the main symptoms of sickle cell are that sometimes you get tired a lot, like you're breathing, like walking certain distances, pains in the joints and the long bones as well, like say like your arms and your elbows and your knees and stuff like that. And the pain is severe pain, very, very severe. Sometimes it can seem like cramps, but on other times it could be really severe where you need to be admitted to hospital. So it can incapacitate you. Well, mainly, if I have a crisis, my crisis tend to last from 5 to 10 days. And in that time, I need help at home from my sister or my mother or someone like that. It happens not all the time, but it can happen in intervals. So 1 week you can be all right and be able to move and walk and stuff. And then maybe 2 days later, you can't move and you might need crutches or walking stick or something like that. So it varies from person to person. Every person with sickle cell is different. Sometimes some people with sickle cell don't get ill that much and don't have to be admitted to hospital or need like walking aids. And some get ill every week or every month. So it varies from person to person. Well, when I go to hospital, whether it's an outpatient or an inpatient, the outpatient is, we're treated, well, I am personally, a lot better than I used to when I was younger because they know more about it. But when you're in, as an inpatient, there can be a lot of problems when you have an admission because there's a stigma against people with sickle cell because the pain's great, it's a high level of pain. And because of the high level of pain, we need things like morphine, pethidine and things like that. And basically there's just a stigma because young black males in the community, there's a stigma with a lot of black males that they're in the drug trade and things like that. So when we go into hospital and if I'm in pain, I'm screaming in agony and I'm asking the nurse for a painkiller, she could, not always, but a lot of the times they do suspect that you're an opiate addict, you come in for the drugs, rather than, you're genuinely sick. But you are sick, you're in pain and you need, analgesia. And sometimes the nurses don't understand the level of pain that you have with sickle cell. So they're a bit skeptical, a bit wary, and it's just a lack of compassion and empathy. It's changing, it's improved from like, say, 5 years ago. Now you have training facilities. Now I do talks on sickle cell to NHS staff like student nurses. So the nurses coming up now are more aware of the problems with sickle cell. A lot of schools have health officers and advisors, like disability advisors, like in university and primary school and secondary school, and they're more aware of sickle cell and they can help you cater towards your disease. Like maybe in exams, when I was in university, they give you another room to go to with a padded seat, rest breaks every hour. So it's improved a lot, and more of the educational institutes are more aware of sickle cell now. I think assisted living basically is what a lot of people with sickle cell need because like a lot of the housing that's available now is not suitable. You could live in a block which has 5 floors and you could be on floor 3 or floor 4 or even floor 2. And to go up those stairs, especially when you have pains in your legs or in your body, is really hard. But where I live, it's assisted living, especially for people with sickle cell. So I'm on the ground floor. Inside my house, we have 7 radiators, which keeps it warm, insulated, and we have a health visitor. So she comes to see us once every 2 months, checks how we are, if we need anything, and it really helps. Since I've lived there, because I moved out of my mum's 4 years ago, I've had less episodes of pain than I was when I was at my mum's. So it's really helped me, because stress brings on pain. But the most important thing I would say is to have support, because if you don't have the support, then you're more anxious, and the more anxious you are, the more pain is going to come on, because the mind's a powerful thing. If you do things like relaxation techniques, deep breathing and things like that, that really helps. And I've got into that in the past 2 years, and I'm finding it really good. Well, I think when you are serious about, say, like me, if I'm serious about a girl and, we're kind of like thinking of being engaged or getting married or something, it's important to get tested for sickle cell trait. It's really important. And it's not the first thing I ask. I don't go into a club and go, "How you doing? My name is this. Have you got the sickle cell trait?" I don't do that, but it's important to know whether they have it or not. And a lot of the times, when I do mention I have sickle cell, people are very curious about it and they ask me questions. And I think that's a good thing, because if they don't know about it, you can educate them. But me personally, I personally would try to, have a partner who doesn't have the sickle cell trait, because sickle cell, it's not an impossible thing to live with. It doesn't mean you can't have a good life and a good future, but it is very difficult, and it's even more difficult if you don't have good people around you who understand. Well, I think if you have sickle cell, it's harder to do things, and it may take more time, but if you have the determination and you have the support, you can do anything. I mean, me myself, I left school with 1 GCSE, and then the next year I stayed on, and I stayed on in the 6th form, and we had a tutor that was really good for me. She was really compassionate. She understood about sickle cell because her nephew had it, and she really helped me get through it, and I got 4 Bs. Compared to the year before, I only got 1. So I think people with sickle cell can do anything. A lot of my friends who have it, they all have degrees, every single one. I've got a degree in HR marketing. We've had jobs. One of my friends, he's got his own business, his own driving school. So it can restrict you, but if you're determined to do something with the right support and other people having the right attitude about it, then there's nothing to stop you from doing whatever you want to do.